Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This week we're actually going to take a quick hiatus from the I Did Their Workout series, and I want to have a chit chat about what it takes to actually become stronger and more toned for a woman when it comes to working out in the studio. So here's a quick little personal story about myself. Y'all, when I first got into fitness, I was obsessed with the Oxygen magazine. I don't really read them anymore. I haven't really seen them often, but you probably know what I'm talking about. I would read Oxygen magazine all the time, and I would tell my husband, Dan, I want to be on that cover so bad. I want to look like these girls, and I would work my butt off. But here's the thing. I never actually lifted any weights. I would do the machines from time to time, but I just thought that being fit equated to running or being fit when it came to cardio, and I thought that the more I ran, the toner my legs would get, and before you know it, I would look like those girls. And if I lost fat that were covering my body, that my muscles would pop, and before you know it, Oxygen would be calling me and asking me to be on the cover of their magazine. Sadly, that never happened because I never did anything to actually look like those girls. I was doing it all wrong. And as I got more into the fitness world and I started training myself a little bit more with a purpose and started educating myself, I realized I knew nothing at that time of what it actually took to get the body that I wanted and to actually be strong. Yeah. How do you get strong? First off, stop relying so much on cardio. Cardio is an extremely important part when it comes to overall health. Building a strong cardio base is really important for your heart health and your lung health. Of course, we want to be able to walk up the stairs without getting winded, or we want to be able to go on a jog with our kids or go bike riding without feeling like we're going to die. But when it comes to actually getting the body that you want, cardio is not going to do that. Only way that you're going to get nice and toned and strong is to actually work on getting strong. And you do that with strength training, using those weights and using them with a purpose. So what does it mean to have a purpose when it comes to strength training? It means actually following a program, going into each session being like, this is what I want to accomplish. If you just pick out random workouts from all over the internet, even if you just randomly choose one of mine one day, that's great if your goal is just to get a good workout. But if your goal is to get stronger, you can't just go lollygagging around picking workouts here and there. You're gonna have to focus on workouts that are actually designed with a purpose and are designed to progress as you go through them, which is why having a pre-designed program is really essential. Let's talk about progressive overload. Progressive overload is probably the number one most important element when it comes to getting stronger. When it comes to your body, it's pretty smart. It doesn't want to have to work harder than it has to. So if you go in and let's say you knock out 5 sets of 5 squats and at a pretty heavy weight where that 5th one's really hard for you, your might be pretty sore the next day and your body might be like, man, that was tough. But if you do that exact same thing over and over again, within the first 2, even 3 times doing it, you're going to adapt to it and your body's gonna be like, that wasn't so hard. And any kind of progress that you were gonna make is already gonna stagnate. So progressive overload just means basically progressively making an exercise or a workout harder and harder from time to time to overload your body, to increase the stress on it, and force it to continue to adapt so that you don't just plateau off. You want to make sure that it continues to go, oh my God, what's it doing? I have to work to adapt. It's during that period of recovery when it's trying to figure out what you're doing to your body so that, let's say you're squatting 125, your body's recovering and saying, okay, the next time you put 125 on my body, I'm gonna know what to do. Your job is to put on 130 so that it goes, oh my gosh, this isn't the weight that I'm used to doing. Now I've got to adapt to try to get to this weight. And it's during that period that you get stronger. So there's different ways that you can do progressive overload. And you don't have to overload your body every single time you work out. It's okay from time to time, especially if you find that your body's kind of tired, to decrease your reps, decrease your weight, or stay where you are. But overall, if you were to graph it out over, let's say, a 6-week course, you want to see a line that goes up versus a line that stays stagnant, or a line that decreases, obviously, is not what you want to go for. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do progressive overload. The most obvious answer, the one that most people are used to, is to increase the weight that you're using. But even with that, from time to time, you're going to hit a limit, or maybe it's how many weights that you actually have available to you, or your body's just gonna be like, I cannot handle anymore. What other ways are there to progress with your overload? You can also do your reps, your volume, so the number of reps that you do. So let's say one day I do 5 reps at 125, maybe the following day I'll try to do 7 reps at 125. There's also the load, which is the weight that we're talking about. Time under tension, which is the kind of envelops a couple of different elements. It's the speed at which you're doing a workout. So tempo is extremely important when it comes to your exercises. So maybe you're gonna go down for 3 seconds, pause for 1 second before you come up. Or maybe a 3-second down, 3-second up, or maybe you're gonna do really fast reps. But playing around with that tempo challenges your body in a different way. So if you've never played around with tempo, definitely do that. A lot of times with my personal squat training, I'll start with just like my normal pace for heavy squats, and then I'll do a finisher where I take the load off of the bar, decrease the weight significantly, and then I'll finish off with a whole bunch of slower reps to really work on my negatives. And that negative, that time under tension in your negative position, is so beneficial when it comes to adding strength. So don't neglect that. And then range of motion can be a really important place too, if you have the physical ability to play around with range of motion. So if you don't have a full range of motion squat because of hip mobility or ankle mobility or back issues, whatever the case may be, then obviously maybe this one isn't what you want to do. You want to make sure that you're listening to your body and that you are being smart with your training. But if you are able to, try to go down on your reps a little bit more. Play around with how far you can squat down, or how far you can lunge down, or how far you can take a plate if you're doing bench press. Play around, try to get that full range of motion if you haven't been doing that already. How do I incorporate this into my own training? I thought that I would show you guys a quick little example of what I'm doing right now and show you what's important when it comes to my own progressive overload, because I've been working on a squat training program for about 6 weeks now. I'm still in the middle of it. I am going to make it so that it is available to you guys, but that's coming. Right now, it's still working on my own personal stuff. But one of the biggest things that has helped me progress with my training is to keep a workout diary. So I write down every single day of training in this book. Now, when it comes to my squat training, I want to make sure that I am progressively overloading my body. But I don't always want to lift heavy because I too have some back issues, and sometimes I just can't add a really, really heavy bar onto my back like I can other days. But I still want to make sure that I'm getting a higher volume than I did the time before. So here's what that looks like. What I do is I figure out what my volume of training is. I take the number of reps times the weight, I multiply it, then I add all of it together if I've been messing around with different weights, and I find that one total number. So it's the pounds total that I've moved over the series of that entire squat session, if that makes sense. And then I compare it to the time before. If I need to add in a couple of more reps, then I do that. But I'm just really focused on trying to make each workout a little bit harder on myself. So for example, here was yesterday's. Now, I'm not saying that you should be doing 12,000 pounds of lifting. That's actually insane and not normally recommended for most people. But that's what I'm playing around with, just doing some self-experimenting right now. And that's what works for me, but that's how I do the math. So yesterday I did 12,400 pounds of volume, and then the time before I did 11,950. So as you can see, right there. So that way I know in my head, all right, I'm progressing myself from one training session to the next. And that is absolutely key. The next thing to keep in mind when it comes to adding strength, take your rest days. Guys, just like I mentioned before, you do not get results while you're doing your workout. You get results during the time it takes for your body to recover and adapt between workouts. And if you're not giving your body adequate time to heal itself, because exercise adds a lot of strain and stress and damage to the body that it has to recover from, then you will not get the results that you want. I know so many people that when they actually take 3 to 4 to even a week off from training, they'll come back feeling better than ever. And it's because they had not let their body fully recover. So if you're one of those people that likes to work out day after day after day, take a day off. And not one of those crazy rest days where it's like it's a rest day, but I ran 5 miles. Take a real rest day. You'll see way more out of that than if you try to take a rest day while you biked 10 miles and ran for another 5 miles. Next tip, make sure that you repeat workouts from time to time. I have fallen into this in my past as well, where I played with a different workout every single day. I never repeated workouts. I thought that was boring and stupid. No, the only thing that was stupid was me. The only way to really be able to track your results and see progress is by repeating workouts from time to time. When you repeat a workout, you can then work more on your progressive overload of trying to add more weight or add more reps, and you're gonna see a lot more benefit from that than if you were to jump around and play exercise. Well, there's not a good word to go with that, but if you were to jump around from exercise to exercise. And then last but not least, like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm not gonna get into too much detail on this, but you do need to focus on your nutrition. You need to eat clean and you need to eat plenty. If you're on a calorie restriction, you're gonna have a really hard time. In fact, it's gonna be impossible to add any kind of muscle tone or any type of strength because that takes energy for your body to do. And if you're not putting that energy into your body, it has nothing to pull from and it's not gonna be able to build that muscle that you want to build. I hope that those tips help you figure out how to become the tonest and strongest person that you can be. Now what it's time to do is to just find the program that you want to do, grab a notebook for your tracking. This I just found off of Barnes & Noble, but I also know people that use apps like Evernote and Paper to track their workouts, and that works just as well too. So if you're a tech person, you like to use your phone, do that. I just prefer to have my phone playing music and me writing down my workouts as I go. All right, guys, have a fantastic day. Make sure that you like and you subscribe to the video, and I'll be back next week. Actually, I'm gonna be testing out a jump rope program, so I'm excited to share that with you guys. All right, have a good one. Bye.